Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. It's the moment of truth for Damian and Nate, highlighted in this week's Young and Restless preview. Plus, Billy has a business proposition for Phyllis and Daniel. Inspired by the new house Sally created for them, Billy became determined to build something of his own. She helped him let go of the need for revenge and his anger. And it seems a new Billy has emerged. Maybe? It feels like a new Billy emerges every year or two. In what's to come, Billy meets with Phyllis and her son and says, "I would love both of you to join me." Daniel replies, "Usually, when something sounds too good to be true, it is." Phyllis asks, "What corner of the universe are we going to conquer first?" What exactly is Billy's plan? It looks like it's time for the truth to come out. Damian asks Nate, "You said you had more details about this job you're offering me." Nate replies, "Before we talk business, there's something you need to know." Is Nate about to tell Damian why he took such an interest in him and reveal they are family? Finally, the Newman's latest rumble with Aunt Jordan and her accomplice Ian ended, with both Victor and Ian being shot. But they don't know that the baddie lives to fight another day. Speaking of fighting, just because he was shot doesn't mean Victor is taking it easy. Coming up, Jack drops in to check on his friend and says to Nikki, "I just heard what happened." "Thank God you're OK." Victor barks, "What the hell are you doing here?" Nate took a deep breath as he stood outside Damian's apartment door. His hands trembled slightly, the weight of what he was about to reveal pressing down on him, like an unseen force. He had rehearsed this moment in his head 1,000 times, but now that he was here, standing in the dimly lit hallway, all the words he had carefully prepared seemed to vanish. Still, he couldn't turn back now. He knocked twice, his heart pounding in his chest. A few moments later, the door swung open, revealing Damian. He was dressed casually in a simple black t-shirt and jeans, his sharp blue eyes narrowing slightly at the sight of Nate. "Nate," Damian said, his voice carrying both confusion and mild irritation. "What are you doing here?" Nate swallowed hard. "Hey, can I come in? It's important." Damian hesitated for a moment before stepping aside. "Yeah, sure, but make it quick." Nate stepped inside, taking in the familiar yet foreign surroundings. The apartment was neat, with a few scattered books on the coffee table and an untouched cup of coffee sitting by the windowsill. It was a reflection of Damian himself, organized, but with an underlying layer of chaos that only those who truly knew him could detect. "So," Damian crossed his arms and leaned against the wall. "What's so important that you had to track me down?" Nate exhaled, forcing himself to meet Damian's gaze. "I need to tell you something. Something that's going to change everything." Damian arched an eyebrow. "Okay, you're being way too dramatic, man. Just spit it out." Nate took a step closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "We're brothers, Damian." The room fell into silence. Damian blinked, his expression unreadable. Then, he let out a short, incredulous laugh. "That's a good one, Nate. Really? What's next? You're gonna tell me you're a long-lost prince or something?" "I'm serious," Nate said, his voice firm. "I have proof. I found some old records, letters, even a DNA test. We share the same father." Damian's smirk faded, his jaw tightening. "That's not funny." "I'm not joking." Nate reached into his jacket and pulled out a folder. He placed it on the coffee table and slid it toward Damian. "Everything you need to see is in there." Damian stared at the folder like it was a ticking time bomb. He didn't reach for it immediately. Instead, he took a step back, rubbing his temples. "No, this doesn't make sense. I know it's a lot to take in, but it's the truth." "No, it's not," Damian snapped. "I grew up alone. No siblings, no family except my mom. She never mentioned anything about a brother. Ever. She probably didn't know." Nate said softly, "Our father. He wasn't exactly the kind of guy who stuck around." Damian clenched his fists. "And you expect me to just believe this? Some guy I barely know shows up at my door with a folder and tells me we're family. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't sure." Nate's voice was steady, but there was an undercurrent of desperation in it. "Look at the documents. Look at the test results. Look at me, Damian. Do you really think this is a lie?" Damian finally reached for the folder, his hands shaking slightly as he opened it. He scanned the contents, his expression shifting from skepticism to something much darker. The birth certificates, the faded photographs, the DNA results, each piece of evidence chipped away at the wall he had built around himself. Minutes passed before Damian spoke again. He shook his head. This can't be real. It is. Nate hesitated before adding, I've known for a while. I just didn't know how to tell you. Damian's eyes snapped up, anger flickering in their depths. You've known? For how long? A few months. Damian's voice rose. And you're only telling me now. I was scared, Nate admitted. I didn't know how you'd react. I didn't want to mess up your life. Damian let out a bitter laugh. Well, congratulations. You did it anyway. Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. For the first time in his life, Damian felt like the ground beneath him was shifting. Like everything he thought he knew was crumbling away. He had spent years believing he was alone, that he had no family beyond his mother's memory. And now, in the span of a few minutes, that belief had been shattered. What do you want from me? Damian finally asked, his voice raw. Why are you telling me this now? Because you deserve to know the truth, Nate said. Because you're not alone. Damian looked away, his chest tightening. I don't know how to process this. I don't expect you to, not right away, Nate said gently. But I'm here. And I'm not going anywhere. Damian let out a shaky breath. He wanted to push Nate away, to tell him to leave and never come back. But another part of him, the part that had spent years yearning for something he couldn't name, whispered that maybe, just maybe, this was what he had been missing all along. I need time, he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. For the first time since Nate had arrived, Damian met his gaze fully. There was still anger, still confusion, but beneath it all, there was something else. Something fragile, something hopeful.